So let's talk about the worst Star Wars movie ever made.
Ah,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I almost hung up the call.
I'm kidding.
you should really drink some of Eddie's mushroom drink,
That would cure everything that ails me. This is being recorded
including
now.
your bad opinions.
Can I start now? Are you guys done?
Maybe.
Are you done making your mushroom drink?
Eddie, this is what we call a cold open, okay?
Yeah.
It's like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
I'm not sure why we didn't just start a new Zoom anyway.
Because
Yeah,
that
the
takes
whole
Eddie
time.
like 20 minutes to do.
Welcome everyone to Three People in a Blanket Fort talking about Star Wars. Thanks for coming to whatever this was.
Whatever this was. So that's the closing statement. So
We're
that was
starting.
it.
Yeah,
No, I think you got whatever this was, as in like what we were just talking about, because you recorded about 2 minutes of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. So that was his closing statement. So
No, that was my starting
thanks for
statement.
coming to whatever that was.
Oh,
Yep.
We'll
okay.
see you next
That's
time.
See ya.
Today we're talking about Return of the Jedi, a movie that these two are ruining for me, even after I've watched it. Apparently,
It's a good movie.
yeah, it's a great movie. A good movie is a great movie. It's fantastic.
It's probably the best.
Oh,
I don't know about that. We'll get into that.
yeah, I guess we will get into that. Any comments, Shaner? I got my own comments, but do we just
About the movie in general?
Yeah, just the movie. Yeah, before we get into like our three, but yeah, just general
let's
comments.
see. Nothing off the top of my head. One thing I will say, I do not get. We can talk about this later. I don't get the hatred for the Ewoks. I genuinely don't understand it.
I don't either.
My general comment is that in this movie, C-3PO was the most helpful that he has ever been in the series.
I was just thinking about that earlier.
Yeah, everyone contributes to the team. C-3PO does something. Chewbacca does something. R2-2, R2-D2 kind of does stuff, but not really.
And he
Dies.
dies.
He tries, but then he gets shot, so can't blame the guy.
He doesn't get shot. He gets electrocuted.
No, he got shot for the stormtrooper as he tried to unlock the door on Endor.
Yeah, I thought that he like stuck the thing in the door and it electrocuted him.
No,
Maybe I missed that part.
Stormtrooper shot him.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to that part, obviously.
And then all the electrocution happens for just because.
Yeah, that's what happens when you shoot things.
So wait, are you like down on this movie, Shaner? Are you?
No,
just like,
I don't. No, it's again, like I've said about A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. These are the movies that I have nothing to say anything bad about, but I don't have as high praises for them as I do for the ones I grew up with.
I mean, that's
you know
fair.
what I mean, they're good, but to me, they're not like the best.
Okay, but you grew up with these too.
You saw the other ones before you saw the original trilogy?
Probably, because by the time, well, let me think. Maybe not. I don't remember my first time watching Star Wars, but I remember consistently enjoying, the prequel trilogy a lot more because I was 9.
Sure.
I was like 6 or 7 when I first saw A New Hope.
I honestly don't remember what I saw first, but I just remember enjoying the prequels more. And the internet can shoot me if they want to, and I'll get electrocuted. But yeah, I have nothing bad. Like the prequels, I have bad things to say about, but I can look beyond them because I have nostalgia. These ones, I have nothing really bad to say about. They're great movies, but they're not like, oh, these are the best things I've ever seen in the entire world.
I'm pretty sure this was only the second, maybe the third time I've ever seen Return of the Jedi. So it was definitely
the 5th.
It was definitely, there were some things that were new perspective on now that I'm older, and things that I completely forgot happened in the movie. So it was really nice. I did have those moments. Yeah, it was nice watching it again, and after so long a time.
Before coming into this, and I won't spoil where it sits on my list now, but going into this, it was my favorite Star Wars movie, period. Love Return of the Jedi. It's also a really good movie. So it might top the list. We'll see. I don't know. How do you guys feel? I mean, I do know, but you guys don't know. Well, you know, because you saw mine. Anyways, how do you guys feel about Death Star 2.0?
Okay. I was thinking about this earlier because I knew we were going to talk about it. I cannot tell if it is a genius plan or a stupid plan. Because on
by
the
the
one hand,
Empire or George Lucas?
By the Empire.
Okay.
So like in world, let's think of the reasoning in world. They were like, okay, they blew up the first Death Star. It didn't work. So what if we made it bigger and just didn't have the exhaust port on there? Which seems kind of smart because the Death Star was a perfect weapon if it didn't have that exhaust port.
Sure.
But on the other hand, branch out and do something else. You know, so I can't tell if it was smart of them to just build the thing they just destroyed, but bigger. I don't know why it had to be bigger. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, at the very least, it was smarter to make it fully operational before it was complete.
Yeah, that was smart, and it was smart of them to act like it wasn't. But also, I would like to know what George Lucas was thinking in this one.
I think thematically it makes sense because the Empire is just arrogant. I mean, that's like their main attribute. It's super arrogant. So of course they're going to think their super good plan was really good. It's just those pesky rebels found out about the one hole. So we're going to fix that and it's going to be perfect, you know? So
see, the problem is the Death Star is like a be-all end-all weapon. How do you improve on that? Well, no, how do you improve on that? Because even in, spoiler alert, in episode 7, the main big bad weapon is just another version of the Death Star. And in episode 8, another version of the Death Star on smaller ships. So how do you improve on the Death Star? So you shouldn't have started A New Hope with a Death Star. That may be a weird opinion, but build up to the Death Star. Make that, keep the Death Star in episode 6. In A New Hope, do something smaller. So by the time episode 6 rolls around, you're like, whoa, what's a Death Star? Oh, it's huge. Otherwise, it just kind of feels like, oh, we're doing the Death Star again.
Okay,
that's great.
That's like hindsight's 2020. Like George Lucas made that not knowing it would become all this.
I know. And that's kind of the problem with a lot of these movies. Is a lot of these things you have to retroactively fix. But you have to at least admit it would have been a lot cooler had he known to save the Death Star for Return of the Jedi. And start with something like they're just attacking Vader's Star Destroyer.
I don't know. I liked I think thematically it makes sense that they had it again in Return of the Jedi, but that's just me.
Well, that's the problem is where do you go from here? How do you build a better weapon than the Death Star?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying thematically it makes sense for the Empire because they're super arrogant. That's like their shtick, you know? So of course they're going to return to the thing that they thought was perfect. And of course,
because they have nowhere else to go. You can't build a better Death Star.
I know. Yes, I think we're great. Well, they did. Well, we're trying to make a better Death Star without the fault of the first one.
I guess making it more better. Let me rephrase that. How do you make something better than the Death Star? Because again, you put it on something smaller, maybe, but that's still technically the Death Star.
Well, I guess that's technically what they did, and again, going forward, but episode 8 with like the ship, like the guns on the ships. That's technically what they did, what you're describing right there.
I guess, but it's still just the Death Star, but in smaller form.
Right. I don't know.
It's all variations on the Death Star, on the let's blow up a planet weapon.
Moving forward, I'm not going to comment on like the future.
I mean,
version.
if you bring Jar Jar Binks everywhere, he's pretty much a weapon in and of himself, tripping on everything and destroying everything. So just bring him along.
So Jar Jar's the ultimate weapon?
So the Empire should have just cloned Jar Jar.
Lots of Jar Jars.
But made him bigger, as is the Empire's theme.
So many giant, clumsy Jar Jars, just destroys everything.
It is kind of a theme. I mean, you look at the Empire, though, everything they do is like, what if it were bigger? Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
What if it were bigger? Death Stars.
Yeah.
What if they were bigger? Stormtroopers. What if they were bigger?
Yeah, pretty much. Bigger.
C-3PO.
Everything's bigger.
What if he was bigger?
He should have been. He should have had like a hulking mech body in this movie.
He should have just been Iron Man. Just make him Iron Man.
Vision.
Vision.
Opinion. Vision is C-3PO 3.0.
Yeah, I could go with that. Yeah.
You're not funny. I want to go back to your one point you made earlier, Shaner, about the Ewoks. Because I had a comment like that similarly. I love the Ewoks. I think they're super cool. And they're fun to watch. They're like the humor in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. But that's what people have a problem with them because they're comedic relief. But like all these other characters have been comedic relief in the past. Han's had comedic relief.
Yeah.
Luke occasionally. Literally every one of these characters has been funny at one point.
C3PO's previous role in Empire Strikes Back was comedic relief. That was his entire purpose.
Yeah, we
I'll admit,
touched on that.
The Ewoks, for me, watching it previously when I was a kid, they were corny, and I loved laughing at them, but I did think they were super corny. Now, seeing it again, I enjoyed watching them a lot more.
I love them.
Because
you can't say that the reason you hate them is goofy, because like watching it today, there were so many things in it where I went, why did that need to happen? Like when Luke kicks Vader down the steps at one point, and Vader does this backflip.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessary. That didn't benefit him. Maybe he landed on his feet because of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he landed on his feet because of it. Because he was
But
just carrying the momentum.
Backflip.
That's what he did. He did a backflip.
It looked silly.
Because Luke kicked his upper body and he was pushed back, and so he turned to a flip to land on his feet. I thought it made sense.
Actually, I don't even think he landed on his feet after that.
No,
he hit the ground on his butt. There was no reason for that backflip. So don't tell me the Ewok. I'm not saying
he didn't. Yeah,
sure.
He didn't land on his feet. I remember
actually thinking
like,
about
that's
that now.
weird...
He landed wrong.
Correct us in the comments.
Don't tell me the Ewoks were goofy as an. I'm not talking about you guys, just anyone. Don't tell me the Ewoks were goofy as your excuse when you got Vader doing backflips after getting kicked and making the roast like That's what he does.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Actually, since we're talking about Vader, well, actually, I'll hold off because that's like my one thing to change. So I'll hold off on that comment. But
okay. So for me, the silliest thing, and there might have been sillier things, but the thing that was silly to me was the back and forth with Luke, because like, okay, I get it, he's struggling with himself and stuff.
Vader.
Yeah, with himself. The back and forth with himself when he's with Vader and when he's with the Emperor. So it was just kind of like this, oh, I'm mad, but I'm not going to do anything. Oh, I can't do anything because of my morals. Oh, I'm going to do something anyway. Oh, never mind. And
well, I could see that because that was his back and forth with the dark side, where he's like, I'm not going to fight you. And then Vader's like, oh, wait, I'm going to go kill your sister now. And Luke went okay,
I understood that part after he'd already been fighting a little bit and all that, and he's trying to turn his father. I'm talking about before that, when it was all like, I'm not going to fight you, even though you're destroying everything, and I probably have every moral right to fight you.
Yeah, but see, Sidious kind of trapped him because it was like, here's your options. Don't fight me, and I blow up everyone you love. Or do fight me and you're giving into the dark side, because that's what you do, is you give in your anger and your frustration and you kill me. Whether or not it was true, he had Luke convinced it was true. So Luke was kind of stuck in like do I kill this guy and become a Sith? Or do I not kill him and let everyone die?
Honestly, though, like, he had every right to kill the Emperor. Like, he's like linchpin in the entire...
But the problem is, if he killed him... Okay, I say... Jedi don't kill people, but let me rephrase that. Jedi aren't supposed to kill people. We touched on that with episode 3. True. But as I was watching this today, Luke has no problem just sending people to their death left and right.
Yeah.
But when confronted with it, with what a Jedi's supposed to be, he would have killed Sidious out of he wanted to kill him, which makes him very Sith-like.
Or kill him out of justice, because he's called the death of millions.
Yeah, okay, so when Anakin killed Dooku,
those weren't the only options.
I mean, I think Anakin should have killed Dooku. I don't think there was anything wrong with that.
That was his turn to the dark side. Jedi aren't supposed to kill people, whether or not they do.
Look, there were other options. It's just the guy was so focused on trying to turn his dad in front of Sidious that he didn't think about the fact that, oh, maybe I should instead destroy the comm system that Sidious has sitting right there. Or maybe
if you think that's the only way Sidious could have communicated, I would say you're
no, but he didn't. But my point is, Luke didn't even try to find other options instead of just standing there doing nothing versus killing the guy. Like, those were his only options in his mind.
Like all these, but this all was thrown on him. Like, this wasn't his plan exactly. So he may not be the best at quick thinking. Not everyone's ADHD brained.
I'm offended by that.
Am I wrong?
I can't tell whether that was supposed to be whether you were
Well, see,
or not.
I have.
It wasn't a compliment. I'm
one-up.
just saying, not everyone's wired like that. Like there's fight, flight, or freeze. You know, you fight because that's the person that you are, Ollie. Shaner, I would assume you're a freeze.
Probably.
Yeah, I would assume you're a freeze. I'm a flight. So like,
I
what's?
don't get confronted with many situations where I have to fight people, so I don't know.
I mean that is fair, and I would say Luke in that situation froze. Like he just wasn't sure what to do. You know.
Yeah, it was kind of all of a sudden he's faced with the Emperor of all people. When he was confident he wasn't going to be going to the Emperor. To even told Vader, he's like, I know there's good in you. That's why you couldn't kill me, and that's why you're not taking me to the Emperor. And Vader's like, oh, guess what? You're going to the Emperor anyways. So I'll give this one to Eddie. I think that Luke did he's suddenly in front of the Emperor that's been talked about for as long as he's been alive.
Yeah.
And his father's there, and he's got all this thrown on him at once. And he's not going to be like.
I guess Luke had reason to hope because all of a sudden Vader's all like, my son.
And Vader was, and I mean, in the end, Luke was right. So it's not like he thought all this for nothing.
True.
But I do have a one-up on ridiculous.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So as I've gotten older, the more I've started to appreciate why people hate Disney adding things CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's becoming more obvious. Like, the few I noticed were that weird bug thing outside of Jabba's palace that just ate that fly.
Right.
Didn't need to be there. That would have been a beautiful shot without it. And it obviously was put in. The one speeder flying around the sail barge where it would just randomly cut into frame and fly across was obviously added in post. It didn't need to be there either.
Sure.
And 3, this one I wouldn't have noticed was added, but I've heard it talked about. The Jabba's palace dance and song number. I hate everything about it. The little rat guy that's like going blah, 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 blah. And that's his singing, and you've got her name is like canonically Size Noodles, the long snouted thing that has lips at the end that talks like this.
Yes,
that wasn't in the original cut, and it didn't need to be added, and I don't know why it was added.
I did not remember that at all. And then I was watching that and I was like, what the heck is this? I don't remember this at all. But I will say my favorite character in that scene is that little blue guy, whatever.
Oh, Max Rebo. He was in the original cut. He wasn't originally.
Oh, yeah?
There was a dance number and it was just the green one. And you can look it up. It was like more rock and roll or something. It's 10 times better because it doesn't have that girl in it. Oh, I hate that so much.
Okay.
The singing isn't even that bad, but that freaky little mistake with the snout. I cannot emphasize how much I hate that thing. And what's even worse is it's in Clone Wars, the cartoon. She is back in Clone Wars, the cartoon, killing people with a gun. I cannot make that up. Yeah, she's a bad guy, and she kills Jabba's brother or something. I cannot make this up.
I'm going to be the contrary one. So like
No.
Just let me finish. That song and like dance.
That character was his favorite.
No. But I grew up on that. That was like my.
So did I.
I don't know. I think the song's really fun. I really like the song. The snout thing.
The song itself is fun. I don't hate the song. I hate the visuals. If they would change it to a less obnoxious looking,
I think it adds to the quirkiness of the palace. I like it.
Go look up the original scene and tell me it's not better. I'm not usually one to go like, oh, the original cuts were superior because there was less CGI and more practical effects. This one, I'm with the old generation on.
I haven't seen it. Okay.
Look it up. It's not better because it's all Jabba's palace. But if I had a choice, it would be the original.
Okay, before we get into like our 3 categories and stuff, I have one more thing I want to mention. How do you feel, and this is kind of going to the retroactive changes, like the ending scenes where, so like after the Emperor dies, you would have like all the original planets from the prequels added in instead of whatever was supposed to be there. I don't know what, but how do you feel about that?
Are we talking about the ghosts?
No. I'm talking, so like the Emperor dies, and then it shows... so then the Death Star blows up, and then it shows all the scenes. So it shows Naboo, and it shows Coruscant, and it shows, I think, Naboo. I think
those are a good thing to add. it doesn't take anything away, and if you've seen the prequels, which at that point you should have because they added those after it was released, it gives you a full rounded out feeling. I'm not saying they should be like they should have been in the original, because in the original you didn't know what Coruscant was, so it didn't matter.
Right.
But once you've seen the prequels, I think those are a good. They look a little out of place because obviously they're new footage, but I think they're an important thing to kind of show you how the celebration was in places you've already seen. So it gives you that full circle from Phantom Menace back. So
I agree.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was good.
What do they have there originally, or is that like retroly just added?
I think that's just added. I don't think there's anything there. It just goes straight to Endor.
Okay.
But another thing, now that I'm thinking about it, I do want to bring up, how do you feel about Anakin's Force Ghost? Because when I was younger, I liked the fact that Hayden Christensen was in there. But now that I'm older, I can see why people got mad at that. And I don't think it should be there.
Why not? Why do you think it shouldn't be there?
Because why isn't Ewan McGregor there as Obi-Wan? The Force it seems like the Force kind of corresponds to them dying or them being Force ghosts when they died. Which is why in the original cut he was played by whoever played Vader in the suit. The guy's name sounds very familiar from something else, and I can't think of what it is. But there was a third guy. So David Prowse played the guy in the suit 90% of the time. You know, James Earl Jones did the voice, and this guy played mask off Darth Vader.
Okay.
And then he played Anakin's Force Ghost.
Right.
So why is Hayden Christensen playing Anakin in the Force Ghost scene and Ewan McGregor not playing Obi-Wan?
I think, this was kind of my justification of it, is because, so like the film's always like, again, this is kind of making up for the fact that they didn't know they were going to do more movies after Last Hope, but they talk like Anakin and Darth Vader are two different characters in that original trilogy, So like there's Anakin, the father of the Jedi, and then he died, and then Vader, because Vader killed him.
From a certain point of view, that's what.
But that's how they're described, and so like Anakin was the Jedi, So that's how I would justify.
I thought about that. I thought about that exact same thing, but I disagree. Only in the fact that they do touch on that in the movie, and that Luke gets very upset with Obi-Wan for tricking him into thinking that Vader wasn't Anakin. And also because in that last scene, he would have been Anakin again. Once he's been redeemed by Luke and he throws the Emperor over the ledge, he's Anakin again. If we're talking about Vader's bad, Anakin's good, he would have been Anakin at the end.
Fair, okay.
So I can see why they thought about doing it, but that's one change I definitely think, now that, in retrospect, now that I'm older and appreciate what actually happened, they shouldn't have changed.
Well, what did the guy originally look like? Hey, Holly, pull up the original. Oh, that would have been fine. Oh, that would have been fine.
Yeah, and that's the problem is, if you're going to put Hayden Christensen in there, you should have at least put Ewan McGregor in there. But you can't just replace Alec Guinness. So you shouldn't have replaced the guy who played Anakin. What's his name? I have to look it up. I know this one.
Oh yeah, I was thinking like someone like middle aged was playing him.
No,
he looks like the proper age. So yeah, that's totally fine.
It was the guy's name who played Vader without the mask was Sebastian Shaw. Was the guy's name?
Okay.
My opinion is that I'm honestly fine with it either way. I think that changing it to Hayden Christensen did connect. It did bring a more of a connection to the prequels, and a lot of people really liked that Anakin. So, but I would have been totally fine if they hadn't done that.
It just doesn't make any sense
either way.
No, I could see out of movie wise, I could see maybe why they did it, but I don't know why they've changed it. I have to look up, see if Lucas ever released a reason, because 90% of the time you can tell when he says something, a lot of people think that he's just making it up to make sure nobody calls him out on the fact that none of this stuff makes sense. Because again, he didn't plan on making any of this.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure the prequels weren't planned by the time Empire Strikes Back came out, or Return of the Jedi.
If you're thinking of it in the sense of like Luke found out he was his father, right? But at the end, he finally sort of acts like a father and saves him. So I guess it would have been better if he stayed the older guy because
That's what I'm
now
saying.
a father figure.
And because that was Anakin in the end and not Vader.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So
I
even
think
with
that probably is
the whole
better
Anakin was Vader or Anakin wasn't Vader thing, in the end he became Anakin again. He went back to being Anakin, so he should have just stayed old. As a kid, I loved seeing going, wait, look, that's Anakin. He's back, because I loved, Revenge of the Sith. But now that I appreciate it more, I can see why people got mad at it, and I am swinging towards that camp.
Well, seeing Return of the Jedi after seeing the prequels makes you really think about the comparison between young Luke and young Anakin, because you see Luke sort of I mean, even though he's resisting hatred and resisting the things that Anakin embraced, you can still see the personality is very similar.
They talk about that. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
Mm-hmm.
They do talk about that, with Ahsoka and Luke being together, and she says how much he reminds her of young Anakin. So
true.
That was the only point I wanted to make. That was one change that, as I've aged, I can appreciate the fact that people don't like that they changed to Hayden Christensen, and I kind of agree. As much as I like seeing Hayden Christensen.
That's fair. That's fair.
So are we at the part where we talk about favorite
moments? I mean, I'm done with my talking points. If you two want to say anything else, or we can just hop into them.
Sure. So I really like how it was family being hurt that got Anakin to the dark side initially, and it was family being hurt that got him out of it.
Ooh, I didn't even notice that. That's a good point.
So it was like nothing Luke could say would change his mind, but I think seeing Luke like that reminded him the pain of seeing Padme in his dreams in such pain, and with Padme being Luke's mother, I'm sure there was some similarity in the way they look as well, and of course reminding him of his mother as well and the pain that she went through. So, meaning Anakin's mother.
Right.
So I think since it was such pain that initially turned him to the dark side in the first place, it took an equal amount of pain, him just watching his son writhing and reminding him of that pain, to finally get him to act against the dark side.
George Lucas is going to reactively add that to the movie. Sorry, retro. Yes.
Yeah, that's become George Lucas's whole job, is to retroactively add stuff.
Well, that's what he's going to add next. Is Padme's face in the middle of that scene? He's going to add it. It's going to be like Vader, Emperor, Luke, Padme, Vader, Emperor, Luke.
It wouldn't.
Padme,
if it was done right, I think that could be done really well. Actually,
I know. I was actually kind of thinking about that.
It might be.
Yeah, if he would have done it well, people would still complain. But if it were done well, I think that could actually really add something to that scene.
Instead of adding no or whatever.
No. Chuck.
So I didn't remember that was something added.
That was totally added, right? I don't remember that
scream
there. No, so like, they're like shooting the 3 shots, and then eventually Vader's like, no, and then Chuck's
I think that was in the original.
I don't think so.
You look it up when you're done.
Okay, I'm pretty sure he just kind of looks, goes, picks up Chuck's. I'm pretty sure that's how.
Maybe actually, that sounds kind of familiar.
See that? Yeah, when Eddie told me that when we were watching, I was like, yeah, that sounds
pretty sure.
That sounds right.
But I can't say for sure if you're.
I've seen this movie. This is probably one of the movies I've most the one.
Yeah, but you haven't watched the original.
No, I haven't.
Original cut,
but like the one cut I've seen, I did not have that. So, anyways, anything else, guys?
I had something, but one interesting point that I never would have noticed had somebody not pointed it out to me a long time ago. When Luke gets shot in the hand, in the robot hand here, like right on the opposite side of his palm, I don't know what you call that part of your hand. That is still there in episode 7 when Rey goes to visit Luke. At the very end, when he holds out his hand for the lightsaber, you can still see the damage there from when he got shot in that hand. So they made sure to keep that in there. It's a little interesting detail that I remembered as I was watching this when he got shot. So it's still got that damage.
Who?
Luke, when Luke gets shot in the hand.
Oh yeah.
So they still had that blaster mark and that damage there
Nice.
in episode 7 made how many years later? Good thinking on their part. Anyways, points. Let's talk about
points.
Categories.
Well, I would like to add real quick
that
I looked it up and no was added later.
Was it? Wow.
Oh yeah.
It does kind of feel out of place. I wish they would have kept that out of there.
Yeah. So George Lucas, if you're listening to this, cut out the nose, but add in Padme's
George Lucas doesn't have
face.
control anymore.
He has some.
Yeah, he's a figurehead.
Well, yeah, now Disney's there, but you know.
Did you see he didn't even direct Return of the Jedi? He did the screenplay, but he didn't direct it.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I got another insight. The no is a pretty close sound to the no that he says in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
When he hears from the Emperor that he killed his wife Padme. So it kind of relates Padme's situation and the pain from that to the, you know.
Okay, let's not reach that far. Hold on.
We are reaching. George Lucas was a genius and just thought about the prequels way before he'd even thought of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but the no was added after the prequels. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe.
Yeah.
Favorite characters, Holly, go.
I have the same answer Holly does because I already know her answer.
Han Solo.
It's Han Solo.
Hands down. It's always Han Solo.
Yeah, I gotta agree on this one.
Him. She's gonna leave me for him one day.
I mean, it's Harrison Ford. Seeing the guy?
He's like 60 something.
No, he's like
70
80.
something?
He's like 80.
Yeah, he still looks great for his age. Did you see the Indiana Jones trailer?
Oh yeah.
However, if you look at half his face versus the other half, the one looks like it's gone through a lot more in life.
Whoa.
How do you know that? Do you just look at pictures?
She constantly just like holds up a hand to his face. She's like touching his face, and she went, "Wait a minute." She's got a poster of Harrison Ford hidden from you somewhere. She constantly like brushes his face with her hand, and she just suddenly went, "Huh? If I cover up this side, and then if I cover up this side,
come on, it's pretty
look
obvious.
Look at that."
His smile looks so different on one side than the other. So I've
seen people like that before.
See what he looks like on one side versus the other, and he looks a lot more stressed on one side.
Let's do it to Eddie here. Eddie, don't move. Yep, on both sides, you look like a Jewish rabbi.
We're having a conversation after this. Anyway, Shayna, what's your favorite character?
I got to go with Holly on this one. For some reason, in this movie, Han Solo is so much more fun. He's a lot more. I don't want to say he's more sarcastic in this versus like Empire Strikes Back, but a lot of his humor really lands here for me. And again, I don't want to say it's anything different. I don't know why this one connected with me so much more, but I really liked him in this. Because all the other characters just kind of were, like Luke was cool, but you didn't get to see more as much of him as I would have liked.
Yeah.
And he did a lot because I guess he struggled with all the good and dark, but he just wasn't as much of a fun character as Han Solo was in this. So I got to go with Han Solo, but honorable mention to Emperor Palpatine.
Really?
Yeah, you know that's the same guy from the prequels, right?
Really?
Yeah, that's the same guy who played Chancellor Palpatine in the originals, Ian McDiarmid.
Wow, I thought they
he
just
played
got like
this
a lookalike in the prequel.
So he played this first, and then they got him back to play Chancellor.
Wow, I had no idea. Oh, that's so cool. That makes me happy.
I didn't even think about it. I recognized it was the same guy, and I didn't even think about that.
Because he came in for this, and he was originally told he was only going to be the on-screen appearance, but they were going to have the same guy from 5 voice him. But like the director or George Lucas, maybe both told him if they liked his voice more, they would keep it for this. And he decided to do something completely different than the guy from 5 who had more of, like they said, an aristocratic British appeal. And this time he decided to do something completely different. And they liked it so much they kept it. It's probably why he got invited back to the prequels. So yeah, honorable mention to him because I like Palpatine and I want to share that fact. But yeah, I got to give it to Han Solo. He was my favorite part of this movie.
Every time I watch that part now, I think of the Studio C.
Yeah.
The Studio C.
where he's
Take
the
the milk
roommate.
jug, strike me down.
I haven't thought about that skit in so long.
It's good.
I was like giggling before he even said it when I was watching the movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Eddie, why don't you tell us your wrong opinion? I mean, your opinion of who's your favorite character.
It's people are not gonna like me for this.
Oh no.
If it's an Ewok.
My favorite characters are the Ewoks.
Okay, the Ewoks as a collective.
Yeah, as a
As a collective,
collective.
okay.
Yeah, I love the Ewoks in this film.
They're pretty
I think
featured in this.
they just I don't know. They bring the humor in this movie. They really just bring everything together. I don't know. I just really love them. I know people don't like them.
Have you ever heard the Ewok gospel song?
Ooh.
It's this whole guy singing about how people don't like Ewoks and why they should like them.
Oh,
and
no,
Billy
I've
D.
not
Williams
heard that.
and Billy D. Williams is in it. It's
Is
like
it
a
on
little
YouTube?
Yeah, it's like a 2-3 minute song.
Okay, I'll look it
called
up.
The Ewok gospel. Look it up. I've listened to it since I was like really young because my dad found it. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So
no,
anyways, I think the Ewoks are great, and I just don't get the hate for them. None of the reasoning makes sense.
They are the good minions. The minion type character done right.
Yes.
They're funny, they're kind of cute, but they're actually helpful and are important to the story.
True.
That's fair. I would give honorable mention to Carrie Fisher in this one. Just I liked Leia in this one a little bit more than I liked her in the other ones, just because
she was almost naked.
No, thank you.
That was a test, and you succeeded. Good job.
That was the lesbian test, and you passed.
Oh my gosh. No, I liked the whole like she's always been a little bit rash, and you definitely see that in this one where she just gets on the bike and everything, and Luke's like, wait, and so I like seeing her first of all not in a dress and helping just as much as the others are, which she helps. I was gonna say
she's been helpful more than them since like episode 4.
Okay, but episode 4, she was more bossy than she was helpful and complaining.
I mean, who got them out of the detention cell? She did.
R2-D2.
No, whenever she blasted the hole in the grate and got them into the garbage
sorry,
compact.
before that.
No, that's true. I'm just saying, when I was a kid, I initially didn't like the character of Leia as much because the movie I saw the most was 4, and she just seemed so bossy and not willing to cooperate with them and collaborate. But so that's what I like about this movie, is that she's like not only being helpful, but she's no longer being like that just bossy and sassy. Instead, she's being down to earth and still having her like kind of rash personality and do it myself type personality. And actually
very much a daughter of Anakin.
Yeah, basically. And I like that in this movie.
What is your favorite scene? Shannon, go.
Oh, this is a tricky one. Because again, with these movies, I liked everything. But ask me to pick a standout scene, it all kind of just goes together.
I have the same issue. Yeah.
I've got one.
So
okay, go.
Yeah, hit us while I have time to think.
I don't remember like exactly what was said, but it was all like, "Oh, be careful, they don't see you," or something, and then C3PO looks out from the tree and goes, "Oh," and it just cracked me up. That's not actually my favorite scene, but it was absolutely hilarious. I had to mention it.
So what's your actual favorite scene?
I think it might be the part where Vader turns and you can kind of, it's just there's such a long period of time that he does nothing while Luke is being tortured. I don't think I remembered how long that goes on for before Vader finally decides to put an end to it. Is like, now I'm actually gonna kill you, and it's like, well, what were you doing the entire time like that we've been watching here? But it is interesting like how long he waited, and then finally that emotional outburst of just that action. that might be that's a good one for sure.
So mine.
Sorry.
Never go ahead.
The other possible one would be the chase on the vehicles.
The speeder bikes.
The speeder bikes. Yeah, where Leia and Luke are on the speeder bikes, and then they're both on speeder bikes beside each other as brother and sister, and I thought that was cool too.
That's a fun scene. So I don't know if this is my favorite scene per se, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And I picked this one to showcase, I guess. I don't know. I really like this scene. It might be my favorite. The point where it's kind of like, oh no, all hope is lost for the rebellion. You know, they're down there in Endor, and then there's like the Legion of Stormtroopers, and it kind of goes back between that and the sky battle. And then the horns blow and the Ewoks come out and save the day. I love that fight. Do you sense a theme here? I really like the Ewoks.
You're liking the Ewoks. That's another complaint I've seen people have, is that the Ewoks shouldn't have been able to kill anybody with their weapons. I'm kind of like, I don't know. If you drop a rock on somebody, I don't care how much armor they're wearing.
I mean,
if I drop a rock on your head, you're gonna die.
Force trauma is a thing. I would agree, like the speed at which it wasn't realistic. Like they would have had to like hit a lot harder. But keep in mind, like these Ewoks are like killing animals and eating. They are carnivores because they were going to
they were going to eat Han Solo
and them. So like they are capable of killing things. So yeah, it might have looked a bit derpy, but like I think the proof was there. So
here's my question. Why did they unnecessarily show one of the Ewoks dying and the other one just like being depressed?
Oh yeah, try to drag the friend. It was to make you sympathetic to them.
It was to make them humane.
I was like, no, now I'm sad.
Shoot, I still can't decide on a favorite.
Why don't you? You're supposed to figure this out beforehand.
I forgot we did sections. You know how long it's been since we recorded the Empire Strikes Back episode?
Yeah, it's been like a month. It has been like a month.
I'm gonna say
I'll cut out the extra, so like you can take your time.
I liked the scene where it kind of feels like the Emperor's got the upper hand for once, because you don't expect that out of these movies. Like usually it's like the bad guy does something. Oh, the good guys stopped him. The end. And this movie, if you haven't seen it before, it draws you into thinking that they got lucky with the shield generator. They got lucky with there not being another, no more ships around the Death Star, and that the Emperor's there, and the Death Star is not operational. And then all of a sudden the Emperor says, oh, well, actually, we know about your attack. There's people waiting to ambush your friends on Endor. Oh, and the battle station's operational, and he just starts blowing up ships. So for once, it was interesting to see the Emperor be on top of things and know everything, and just kind of counteract everything you thought you knew about the plot.
There were a few of those type scenarios happening in this film. Like when Lando is like, you think he might die, and they really do. Like if you haven't seen it before, you really do think, oh, this might be it for Lando.
That's really makes one of those great humor moments. Is Lando hanging off the sail barge, and him and Han aiming the gun at him. He's like, I thought you were blind right now.
Yeah.
He's trying to not shoot him while shooting the tentacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's another, him with a sight. It was doing well until they did the whole Boba Fett scene where he like goes, oh wait, Boba Fett, where? And he knocks him off the thing with the stick, knocks him off the platform. That felt a bit silly. It didn't need to be there. You could have found a better excuse than, oops, I killed the most famous bounty hunter in the world by smacking his jetpack with a stick.
I guess. I don't know. There's a humor bit.
Yeah, but I don't know. Save the humor for it. Like there was some good humor in this movie. That one just kind of felt a bit slapstick for a Star Wars movie.
Maybe. I thought
so. People watching Book of Boba Fett are like, "Oh, this was the best bounty hunter in the world. Now they're making him a crime lord. How stupid and silly! He used to be so cool." And I'm like, I don't know. He got knocked off a speeder by like a bonk on the jetpack when he flew up, smacked into the side of the sail barge, and then just kind of rolled into the Sarlacc. So I don't know. Maybe he was always silly.
He might have deserved a little bit of a better death than that, but
yeah. And he's like flirting with aliens in
Okay, again, though, we didn't know he was like the most amazing bounty hunter ever. We just thought he was some schmuck that the Empire hired.
Yeah, so anyways, go watch Book of Boba Fett. That's my endorsement for that. It's a really good show.
Was it? I haven't watched it.
I loved it.
Okay.
It's the next logical step in Boba Fett's story. I don't care what anybody says. It made sense to me. And I thought what they did with him was really good. They made him better than in the original trilogy. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay. All right. Something to change. I'll go first this time.
Yeah, hit us.
So I think if I had to choose one thing, I would change the amount of times the Emperor and Vader is complete. Just like they use that phrase like so often in like that short amount of time. It's like your training is complete. And
yeah, it was a lot.
They said it a lot. It was like, okay, you could have cut it out like out of the lines like maybe once, probably twice.
Yeah, it got kind of silly after.
It would have been a lot more iconic if they just like said it once, but that's my take. Who's next?
Ollie, do you want to go next?
No, you can go next.
Because I had two different opinions on this. Okay. One, I've already harped on, so I won't talk about too much. Change Jabba's palace scene.
Yeah.
Change that and get rid of some of the CGI that doesn't need to be there. I know that's been said by a lot of people, but now I finally agree with them. Some of it would still look great without it. Some of the stuff was just CGI added to fill a couple of gaps, and that's fine. Like when you're trying to make like Jabba's palace's door, that was originally like 4 times smaller. That's fine if you want to make it bigger. Doesn't matter. That was all added. You can look it up. But the dance scene in Jabba's palace, I don't see a reason for it to be there. And like the little bug outside Jabba's palace, that scene would have been a beautiful vista without it. Now it's like, oh, here's a thing eating a bug that really takes you out of it. And the speeder barge flying around Jabba's big ship, it just kept zooming across the frame and it looked really bad. Other than that, I'm going to say what happened to Obi-Wan, change it. Because he's on Dagobah with Luke. This is one thing that really stood out to me this time. Is he's on Dagobah with Luke. He's like, you have to go fight Vader and you have to kill him. And Luke says, no, I think there's still good in him. I'm not going to kill my dad. And Obi-Wan goes, well, that's it. We've lost them. You won't kill your dad. And he also, Luke calls him out.
He didn't.
Well, Luke calls him out on his lies when he says, you told me my father was dead. And Obi-Wan goes, well, technically, your dad died. Even from a certain point of view, what I told you wasn't wrong. I don't know. Obi-Wan just kind of felt sketchy in this movie.
I mean, think about how badly Obi-Wan was hurt by the fact that his apprentice that he put so much time into just totally like stabbed him in the back.
So, oh yeah, I'm just saying in this movie, it's a total shift from what he was in the first film. He was like kind and considerate and trying to help Luke. And in this, even when he was a Force Ghost in Empire Strikes Back, he was still trying to be nice. And in this one, he's like, well, yeah, I lied to you, but only technically. He kind of just felt nonchalant and really rude for some reason. I don't know if it was just Alec Guinness being tired of being in these movies because famously he hated them. But it's just between that and him telling Luke, kill your father or we're all dead. Beyond those of us that are already dead, like he was being a ghost. But it just felt very out of character for him to basically tell Luke, you have to kill your dad.
I mean, I guess it is out of character because all of a sudden there's like some sense of hate coming back.
Yeah.
From the time when he didn't kill Vader and look what happened kind of thing.
Yeah. Again,
so I guess he kind of lets go of some of that peace that he's learned to embrace. And I don't know if that's
retroactively added. Like all this stuff about Anakin.
I don't think it's completely out of character for him when you look at the prequels too, though.
But
it may have been out of character for the first 2 movies, but
this may make me sound hypocritical if I go back and correct myself. But look at this as someone who has never seen the prequels. Like when people first saw this movie, how weird it was for Obi-Wan to suddenly turn it without knowing about him and Anakin and him not killing Anakin. So he couldn't kill Anakin, yet he expects Luke to do it as his son. I know he's trying to correct for a past mistake. So let's even look at with the prequels. Anakin couldn't kill Obi-Wan, and they weren't even related. They were Padawans, I guess. But now he's asking Luke to kill his own father that he never got to know. And if he won't do it, then, oh, well, the galaxy's doomed and it's your fault. Vader's won, the Emperor's won. Oh, well, because you won't kill your dad without any second thoughts. That's kind of what it feels like. It just felt very...
Well, I think Obi-Wan knew that now that Vader knew that he had a son, he was going to go after him no matter what. And that he wouldn't hesitate to his belief that he believed Vader wouldn't hesitate to kill his own son.
But the problem was Vader would. And
yeah, but Obi-Wan at that point had lost all hope whatsoever for any idea that Anakin
but he was already... So why did he still nice in episode 5? At this point, why did he know? I don't know. I can kind of see what you're saying, but at the same time, it just felt like there was a better way they could have had him say it. It just felt very out of place and rude of Obi-Wan. So that's, I mean, it's not really a thing to change, I guess, but it could have been done differently. My main thing is the CGI, the add-ons, but I'm going to say there could have been a better way to do the Obi-Wan scene. Not make Obi-Wan seem like a sketchy, liar. So again, with the whole, well, what I told you was true if you look at it from like 19 different points that don't all make sense. Instead of just telling Luke the truth in the first place.
Yeah.
Or at least telling him, like, yeah, sorry, I lied to protect you. He's just like, nope, technically I wasn't wrong. If you see it from my point of view and look through all these different filters.
I mean, Yoda kind of did the same thing. Not only did he also not reveal the truth and then later was like, oh, you learned it? Oh, it was too early. But also telling him that he would not be able to complete his training if he left. And then he comes back and he's like, oh yeah, you're basically done. Too.
I do like the part where he asks Yoda, he's like, is Vader my father? And Yoda goes, time to go to sleep.
Yeah, basically.
Now. I don't want to answer that. That's the same thing too. Yoda's all of a sudden being rude to him. Why did the Jedi suddenly become, jerks when Luke starts calling them out on their, on their lies and not telling him things that he needs?
Well, see, I don't think that's out of character for the Jedi at all if you look at the prequels, because they were jerks in the prequels too, and they weren't telling Anakin things. And they tend to keep things close to their chest and then not care about the fact that they didn't tell other people. Yeah, exactly. You'd think they would have learned.
You think after Anakin became Vader and murdered like 90% of the Jedi, they would have figured this one out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, then.
We kind of got off on a tangent there.
That's okay. That's okay. Did you say what you would change? I don't think you did.
No, I don't think I did. And really, I don't know if there's anything I would change other than what was already mentioned about, the Java's palace scene with that really creepy singer. Anyway,
yeah.
That I would have changed. I guess that's fine. I can't really think of anything else at the moment. Everything else. I think I liked everything else the way it was.
So rankings. Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first because I'm going to make everybody mad.
Oh, boy. Go, Shaner.
Okay. From not worst, but on the bottom of my list to the top of my list, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Solo, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Oh my gosh.
Rogue One. Revenge of the Sith.
No.
Yep. It stays there. No. It's a great movie.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? Considering where it could have been, I can't be mad at where you put it.
It's the best. Revenge of the Sith is the best of the third movies and the best of all the movies.
So you put Rogue One ahead of Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, I think Rogue One's just a more entertaining film.
No. I disagree.
It's a close, but I like Rogue One slightly more.
Wow.
But not as much as Revenge of the Sith.
I'm disappointed in you.
Go ahead, be disappointed. I will die on this mountain.
Okay. Would you like me to go first or next? Would you like to
You
go
go
next?
ahead.
You want me to go next?
You go ahead.
Okay.
Share your wrong opinions.
I had a really hard time with Return of the Jedi because it's still my favorite Star Wars movie, which really clouds my judgment as to where it should go on my list. Because I am ranking it more objectively as a best film, and that's necessarily my preferences as opposed to
No,
you,
mine was
Sheener.
objective. Mine was objective.
No, yours is subjective, which means you're
No,
ranking it based on your own
that's
opinions.
objective. No, that was totally objective. Revenge of the Sith is objectively the best Star Wars film. I'm kidding. Go on. I wanted to see how you'd react.
I almost chucked myself out of my half-story window.
It's objective. No, it's subjective. I mean, my list is totally subjective.
Yes, yours is subjective. Well, I'm going for more objective lists.
Yes,
so.
objectively, the originals are better than the prequels, but subjectively, I enjoy the prequels. I say I enjoy the prequels more, but the first two are on the bottom of my list. I enjoy Revenge of the Sith. Anyways, go on.
Anyways, so I'm trying to keep my list objective. So
good luck.
Yeah, so I have to check myself with Return of the Jedi. So bottom to top: Solo, Phantom Menace, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh.
I know I like Return of the
choice.
Jedi personally better, but I think just Empire Strikes Back is a cleaner film.
I think that's a general consensus.
It has less mistakes, if that makes sense. It's just a very clean movie.
Yeah.
There's not much you can change about it.
More Jar Jar could be a change for one.
Well, every Star Wars movie needs more Jar Jar.
Correct.
Oh, excuse me.
Giant ones,
Oh, giant Jar Jars.
Yeah,
right.
Huge. Yes. Like we said, the Empire's plan, make it bigger.
Once
once
the Death Jar Jar.
The Death Jar Jar.
Whenever we hold our last wrap up episode, you should make a ranking objectively, and I'll make a ranking subjectively.
Okay, that's a good idea.
We should have decided this at the beginning. I think we got distracted.
That's okay.
What were we supposed to
Who cares?
Yeah. Okay, it's your turn, Holly.
It's
your
Holly's
objective
turn
list?
to just spit lies and falsehoods on this
lies and falsehoods.
Go ahead.
Turn to correct your lies and falsehoods.
Oh, I was here first.
So at the bottom, since you guys are doing it that way, Phantom Menace. I think we can all agree that one is the one that
second worst.
No, it's
what did you
of
have,
them.
Solo?
It's
Solo.
It's Solo. Solo is a good movie.
It's a good movie, but that's my second to least.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
I did like
far.
Solo though. So Phantom Menace is at the bottom, then Solo, and then Revenge of the Sith, and then and then Attack of the Clones.
That's fair.
And then Rogue One.
Wait, you put Attack of the Clones over Revenge of the Sith?
Yes. I liked it better. Hey, just be glad that I put Revenge of the Sith over Solo.
Your opinions right now are giving me the same feeling as when I saw that creepy CGI dancing monster in Jabba's palace. I feel the same revulsion, the same vomit-inducing pain as when I watch that scene as I'm listening to this.
I guess you feel the same pain I do when I hear you put Revenge of the Sith at the
That's fair, but one of us is right. It's me. Go on.
It's not, but
okay. Go on.
Right.
I said it first.
Go on. So then after Rogue One, I put A New Hope, and then The Empire Strikes Back, and at the top is Return of the Jedi.
I predicted that.
I did not initially have Return of the Jedi at the top. I wouldn't have initially because, like I said, I've only seen it once or twice before, and I really couldn't remember too much other than the fact that the Ewoks all start attacking everything. So it was great seeing the movie again, and I put it at the top because I think it is the best of all the ones that we've gone through so far on this series.
Well, just wait, we're about to move into.
I liked it better than
rough territory.
Back, yeah.
Well, I like it too, but do you think it's a better film than?
Eddie wants to be objective about this.
Well, I'm just curious because I know she's doing more of a mix in between us, and I'm trying more objective. You're going subjective. She's in the middle.
Yeah.
Wrong.
So I think I would say the reason I put The Empire Strikes Back as second instead of third is because I think it is such a high quality movie.
Well, they're both high quality movies.
We're asking why you didn't put it first.
Why do you think it's better movie than Empire Strikes Back? Objectively, not subjectively.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're fairly equal. I liked Return of the Jedi better, and so I put it at the top.
Okay. I think Return of the Jedi has like higher points, but has more mistakes, while Empire Strikes Back is just a very firm, like clean movie with only like maybe agreeably one or two mistakes, aka Chewie and C-3PO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their lack of involvement, but like the rest of the movie's like clean, but there's not a lot of, I shouldn't say high because you have like the whole Darth Vader thing, but that's kind of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it was fairly clean as far as, like you said, not including any holes.
Sure. Okay.
So that's fair. But generally overall, I think Return of the Jedi had me like interested in smiling the whole time. I don't think there was any moment where I was bored or not paying attention or not like, oh, like what's gonna happen next. And that's what I liked the best about Return of the Jedi. Just kept me super interested the whole time.
Yes, and that's why I like it. That's one reason why it's my personal best film. But I think the plot holes and the some of the changes and mistakes puts Empire Strikes Back over it. But that's just me. That's just me. If there's a subjective list, Return of the Jedi would be top.
I think action wise, it was better, and it's just the meat of it.
Sure,
was better in my opinion.
All right, that's our rankings and everything.
And if you thought these episodes were contentious and argue worthy, wait till we get into the sequels, because I am a firm, staunch defender of the sequels.
Okay.
Mostly because I think they get way too much hate for stupid reasons.
They might get too much hate, but I don't think.
I think they're stupid. I think there are legitimate reasons to hate them, and I think people have made up ridiculous reasons to hate them because it's Disney.
Okay. We'll have to come up with like a structured way, else we're just going to talk about each film for like 2 hours, but that's neither here nor there. I'm interested to hear your opinion, Shaner, in the future, and I'm excited to watch these movies again, despite not liking any of them except for Force Awakens. Okay. Holly, anything you want to say?
Good movie, Return of the Jedi.
Cool. Shaner, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would like to reiterate once more how much I despise the
Jabba's
palace.
Oh my gosh, I get the point.
I couldn't think of a catchy. I couldn't think of a yub yub. That's what the Ewok says. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yub yub. That's my last words.
I would. I'm probably after this going to look up the scene where C-3PO just randomly pops out behind the tree when they're telling everybody to stay hidden. And
yeah, there's a lot of good humor.
That should be in the thumbnail. Hey, Shaner, put that in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
I will do my best.
Okay. Holly, you sent him the screenshot. Shaner, you put in the thumbnail. Bing, bong, boom. There we go.
That's the whole thumbnail. I'm not putting anything else.
Okay.
It's just that's
picture. Fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah, make that the entire thing. And then maybe like put our logo. Anyways,
Eddie,
thank you, everyone.
You have to say something too.
Oh, I would sing one of the Ewok songs, but my memory's not good. And
they didn't even sing. It was just like playing.
Well, they had like their chants like, that was
like good. That. You should make an album.
I know the tune, I just don't know exactly what they say. But sorry, the tune that they're stacking the fire to eat Han and Luke and
okay.
Oh, here's my comment. I'm glad Leia got the chance to say I know back to
oh yeah, that was good.
Just to balance that out. I like that.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Sorry for the late episode, by the way. We know this is a week late, but my life exploded, so sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, no problem, Shaner and Holly. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Tune in next week to hear Holly's wrong opinions. Eddie, end the stream.